Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's been a while since I've done a show. Sorry, I've just been busy, and also, what more do you want me to say about Tottenham that I haven't already said 6 million times over the last 6 years? But here we are again. Esteemed guest joining me today, brother in crime, Enoch out OG, Levy out OG. We tried to tell him, Brian. We did try and tell him. We're going to tell him today, that's for sure. But before we get into all those things, smash the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. Thanks for being here as always. Brian,
yes,
how are you? You good? How's Canada?
Canada is good. The weather is starting to turn, thankfully. It's been a long winter, and I've only been here for 2 months of it. But delighted to be called esteemed. I've been called many names for our beliefs in things. Esteemed is certainly not one of them. So, and it's great to make my debut on your new channel, brother. How is Cyprus? How is Cyprus?
Cyprus is great. Sunny, blue skies, blue sea, friendly people, low crime. People say hello. People say good morning. Food's nice.
Wonderful, isn't it? It's wonderful.
It is a different world to what I'm used to. I do miss back home. There are things I do miss back home, but for what I want to do this stage of life, yeah, I'm happy here for now. It's been a good move so far.
I'm just waiting. Once this shambles of the season is over, I've got a World Cup on my own patch to look forward to. So it's going to be buzzing around here in the summer, so I can't wait.
Yeah, you got the World Cup, haven't you? When does that start?
It starts in June. Starts in June. Everyone around the world, apparently it's only happening in America because everyone keeps saying the American World Cup, and obviously we have Canada and Mexico. America's got the lion's share of it, but it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Time zones, everything's perfect for me.
Yeah, you're living right in the heart of it, so it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Let's see how that works out. Let's see if that. Well, I was going to say if that will hinder Tottenham in the transfer window, but let's see what league we're even in before we go into the transfer window.
Exactly.
So, look, there's no hiding the situation at the football club. All right, I think if anyone wants a quick explanation, I think that sums it up. Okay, that's the best way to explain the situation at the club, and quite frankly, it's a fucking disgrace, Brian. It's an absolute disgrace of the highest order. And I guess the starting point I'm gonna begin with is this. It's the title of the show. £1 billion infrastructure of failure. We were told, Brian, you and I, we were told that because of the £1 billion stadium that we built, it kind of made it difficult to get the kind of players we needed for Poch's team. When we were on the cusp of being something magnificent, the board kind of put some restraints on building out that squad, focused on the infrastructure. But we were told not to worry because the infrastructure will provide the kind of resources so that we can compete with the best. Mm-hmm. We were told that the infrastructure will allow us to deal with the challenges that are coming down the road from FFP and PSR, and we will be best positioned to deal with those challenges. We were told that the £50 million state-of-the-art training facility, academy centre was all part of the future development of future teams, future players, of whom we've seen none, right? None of these academy kids come through. So the academy that hasn't delivered, the first team training centre that hasn't delivered, the £1 billion stadium that has allowed us to go and spunk £800 million on absolute bang average football players, 7 different managers, 8 different projects. God, Brian, what a lie. What a lie we were fed. And you and I, along with the likes of Phil P, Iggy, Maz, Ben Kaufman, Ryan Isaacs, I won't mention the other guys, the original protesters, because I don't know if they like their names mentioned on YouTube, but we know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
The old school original protest lot, because we joined them after they started it.
Yep.
Us 20, 25 idiots, and a few more. Sorry if I've missed out any names. Us idiots, we were called every name under the sun. We were toxic, poison. We were a disease. We were racists. We were UKIP. We were everything.
Yep,
We tried to mention this, right? Brian, I don't want to make it about we were right, they were wrong, ha ha ha. But why does nobody want to listen to it? Why does nobody even want to just take a bit of time and say, hold on a minute? Maybe those idiots that we called every name under the sun on the high street, maybe they had a point that needs to really be considered, and we need to act on that and do something. What's happened, Brian? Because we did try to campaign on this point strongly, very strongly.
So before we get on to that point, all the like I said to you, with the stadium, we were told, first of all, we were told we need Champions League money to bring in the Champions League players and play the wages. And since Peter Crouch's goal, the only players, and people could have their own thoughts on this, the only players since Peter Crouch's goal that we have signed that are Champions League quality at the time of buying them. Not we bought them and they became Champions League quality. And I don't mean players that played for Champions League players, Champions League teams. The only players we have signed since Peter Crouch's goal that are Champions League quality and ready were Ivan Perisic for free and Rafa van der Vaart for 8 million. So we were told after that, we need this multi-purpose entertainment arena that plays football as a side hustle to pay the big wages and attract the big players and offer them Champions League football. We haven't signed one. Oh no, even Perisic came at that time. So it's just a huge lie. The fact that when we started the stadium and people say, yep, the stadium cost more than it was meant to do, and COVID and everything. Well, no, it was after COVID, so take that away. We're told that the transfer money is over there and the stadium money is over here. It won't act on any, it won't affect the transfers.
Yeah, they said, Brian, the exact words were, the money has been ring-fenced.
Exactly.
We've learned from previous projects, i.e. what happened to Arsenal.
Yep.
That was a lie.
Yep, and we went 18 months. We went 18 months without signing anyone. Just to show that things aren't different here. The lies that come, and this stadium, I think you can genuinely see. Put it this way: they applied for the Building Gates to be up at the same time they applied for to host more events. Oh no, before they advised that they had applied for more events, and look what one got approved first. Even though the non-football stuff doesn't matter. The football stuff doesn't matter when it comes to non-footballing aspect. It's always a second thought. It's an afterthought. And from years and years of our being able to be rich and spend, and remember, like you said at the beginning, we were told, and I did a massive thread of this on Lange's pathetic January statement. Everyone was going mad on the don't worry, the players are coming back, so we didn't want to panic buy. I went nuts at him saying, well, there's only 33 transfers made in the Premier League, so not everyone was spending. I'm like, well, wait a minute. First of all, we got told by Levy and Enoch we have to be FFP ready. And when we're FFP ready, then we can make a difference. Then it was PSR. So the one time we can outspend everyone, and I don't mean because we're richer than them, I mean because of our huge gap that we've got before breaching FFP and PSR. Bringing in players when you're struggling for relegation and injuries is the exact time you flex your muscles and don't say, well, there was only 33 transfers, so what? It's not everyone else buy 3 players and then Tottenham can buy 1. This gap and this saving up to make sure we can have an impact, well, we've needed that impact now. More than ever right now, more than when we're going for titles because of the money in the Premier League. And now that we had the advantage, it's the excuse of, well, only 33 transfers were made and there weren't players about. What, like Lookman, Oscar Bob, both players that would have slot straight into it to solve our winging problems. But no, we didn't proceed to go there. We bought people that we didn't really need. And it goes on and on and on with this football club and the lies that they tell. And like you said, we've been there from the NFL process. The other guys, and guys I can mention because I know they won't mind, Andrew Rose, Graham, Boogie, Billy Cards, and there are others that have been doing it for...
Who is the guy from up north?
Oh, Ave, Miles,
but also the Thunder. See you next Tuesday.
Oh God, I can't remember that one. But also, you speak about, and this is the problem we have with the fans not the go to. And when I say this, I mean the homegoing match day. Sorry, I'm using my own mic there. The fans, the match day going fans that won't do anything. Stel and I know this story because me and Stel could not believe it. Someone reacted on one of my comments. It'll probably be in the chat at some point, and messaged me on one of my YouTube videos. I don't know if it was on Tottenham on Tour. I don't know if it was on Tottenham Away. Can't remember even if it was on We Are Tottenham TV. But a guy just reached out and said, "Hey, Brian, you protesting at the next home game?" And I said, "Yeah, we'll always be there every home game." He goes, "Okay, I'll be there." And I was like, "Okay." And then he got back to me about 4 or 5 days later, goes, "Yep, I've just booked my ticket. I'll fly in Friday." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Where are you flying from?" Finland.
Oh,
Jonas literally flew in from Finland. Yeah. He had family in Bognor Regis. So he flew from Finland to London, went and stayed at his family in Bognor Regis, came to the protest, didn't go to the match, came to the Coach and Horses with us, went back to Bognor Regis, back to Finland, and he did it 4 times. 4 times that guy has flown in from Finland to lend his support. And we have 60-odd thousand, 50-odd thousand that can't even get above a few thousand. And watching this team slowly, we've been allowed to rot. We're literally like a cheese that you've left in or bread that's been left out for too long and gone mouldy. That's what's happening with us right now.
Yeah,
that's what's happening right now, unfortunately. And we are where we are. We are where we are, and we have to see what happens. Obviously, we got a massive 5 games. But the main thing is discussing the rot that this club has, or these owners have injected into us. And it's just horrific. And it's just a shame that there's not enough being done about it. It blows my mind.
This is my question, Brian. We could see it. We kind of knew where it was heading.
Yep.
Don't expect everyone else to see what we see or for us to see what others see. And everyone's got their own way of looking at the world. But after the sacking of Conte, when he literally told the whole world, this is what's going, this club, right? This club. And I remember everyone saying, well, he hasn't said anything that's not true there. Like, so everyone admitted that what he said was honest.
Yep.
We still did nothing about it. Then in came Ange. I mean,
yep. I was
going to say he came in. Was he backed? People say a lot of money was spent. When you look at what the money was spent on, and you look at the work of Lange, you ask the question: why was Lange at the club? Then we sacked Ange. Some say he should have been kept. Some say he'd been sacked. In comes Frank. Was he backed? He definitely wasn't backed in January. That's for sure. There's no way he was backed in January. Then in comes Tudor, a wild appointment, absolute madness. You wonder what Vinay is doing as chairman. I mean, would any of the big 6 clubs appoint their rival club? Would Man United go and get Man City's guy and put him as chairman? Would Arsenal go and get Levy and put him as chairman? Would Everton go and get Liverpool's director and put him as chairman? But no, we do it. And you look at the amount of managers we've gone through. You look at the amount of players we've gone through.
Yep.
You look at the people we've put on the board, the people we've removed from the board. When you look at it, And it's so obvious to anyone with half a brain cell, anybody with just some basic level common sense, as in, can you tie a shoelace? Yes. Okay, that's all you need. That's all you need to know. You can tie a shoelace. They can see, right? They can see what the problem is. It's ENIC.
Yep.
And yet, Brian, as a fan base, we're just whatever.
So you mentioned this. You mentioned quite a bit of stuff there. So when you look at it, first of all, I think people that don't know you and me should know yours and my relationship. I've known Stel, and Stel's known me, funnily enough, for 36 years. We were in the same class at secondary school. We're in all of the classes together. And we're very tight there. He was at my bar mitzvah. I still remember in my yearbook, it was Naeem scored, and he, rather than write me a message, he just did me a Matchstick Men version of Naeem scoring that goal and said, "You love you, Brian." And literally, university, I went to work and I went down a dark path, which is well known, but we'd lost contact, and then literally we saw each other in different Spurs Facebook groups slamming the board, and I was like, wait a minute, Still, is that you? And then obviously Tottenham Away started and everything, so we've known each other a long time, and we've been doing about the board a long, but even before YouTube, or we were on YouTube.
We were back on. We were on ENIC's case around about 2019.
Yeah, together. I've been on it since the second they sold Martin Yole. But you obviously you turned fully with Poch, didn't you? But I've been since October the 27th, 2007 is the day
when we signed Ron Sessegnon, that's when I went nuclear.
Okay, so you go.
I'm not doing this.
So we've been doing this a long time, and a lot of people will say that you and me are extreme, and my God, it's not. We're extreme. I've said this many a time. It depends where you were when you said, right, that's it, I don't want Levy. Some people, like Stel said, Sessegnon, it could have been the Super League, it could have been sacking Conte, it could have been a host of things, selling Bowell, it could have been so many things that could have done it. I've been since Martin Yole, so all these things stack up to me. If you've just become Levy out,
letting Harry Kane go, Kane with no replacement.
That's the thing. What people have got to realise, there are so many different people, like myself, that are against the board, and a lot of the chat will be as well, that have had a different straw that broke the camel's back moment. And then when you join it, obviously, you then see it from there. But there's no wrong answer to when you became Levy out. It's just obviously I've been there a long time. But getting back to what you said as well, when you talk about directors of football, three things I'll mention. Johan Lange, Aston Villa are having a party since he's gone. Like literally, their quality in player identification and recruitment, both in and out, have gone up levels since he's gone. Then you look at a story. I know a lot of people talk about Poch and say, oh, he turned down players when Levy was offering them. Well, people have got to go back to AVB when he had the bail money, and he wanted Moutinho, he wanted the Hulk, and he wanted others. And then Baldini and Levy said, we buy the players, you coach them. So for one manager, it's don't care what you want, you bring them in, we coach them. But then when Poch says no to this, they'll just go, okay, that's what you want, we won't do it because we won't spend. It's amazing how they had 86 million to reinvest in this football club, and he wanted Moutinho and the Hulk, and we ended up with Vlad Clearichez and Etienne Capoue. And then when another manager says, I don't want this player, it's like, oh, no, we buy the players. They didn't listen to Paul Mitchell, like a lot of people have said. They listened to Paul Mitchell at the beginning, and we became league title challengers. He went, and it all drifted. The choice of recruitment has been pathetic, has been poor. And I will just say very quickly to show me lights, yes, I am. And the reason I am watching it is my personal issue with De Zerbi that I had was actually not the case. Was nothing to do with football. And it was nothing to do with Greenwood. And what I thought it was fake. So seeing that, I I'm back watching them because what I believed was actually false, and I can't really have a go at De Zerbi for Ash Greenwood when my idol is Paul Gascoigne. My idol is Paul Gascoigne, and he actually did the things he did.
Basically, the evidence Brian was going off of was all fake, so there's no evidence.
Yeah, no evidence. So I can't hate the man for something I didn't know or something that turned false. That's it. That's it. That's it. So I am watching Spurs. I am watching Spurs, but it's only for that reason. It was never the reasons that everyone was bitching and moaning about. Because, like I said, Gaz was my idol on the football pitch, and he did those things. De Zerbi didn't. So, yeah. So, show me the lights. Big up to you. And yeah, I am watching Spurs for that reason only.
What?
That was a dramatic pause there, Still. I'm expecting an absolute belter from you here.
I was thinking what question to go with next. I was going to say, Brian, we've been banging this drum for so many years, okay?
Yeah.
We've been repeating ourselves for so many years. Do you believe Enoch continued to do this because there's no accountability? Because I was having this argument with Sean Butler yesterday saying that, well, not even an argument, we're debating. I was saying that there's no accountability. Enoch can do whatever they want because who's going to hold them to account? The board aren't going to hold the owners to account because the board are paid by the owners and they're just happy to get their £2-3 million a year, whatever they earn. Which means the only people left to hold them to account are the players who, sorry, not the only people left, but the players could, but the players have contracted. Shut your mouth, don't speak. And we saw what happened when Romero spoke up. People turned against Romero. So really, it's only the fans. It's only the fans that can hold the owners to account. But as a fan base, and I've said it many a time, and I don't want to make this the show, but I need to say it. I think our fans are the problem. I honestly think Tottenham Hotspur fans are a massive problem. Now, there's other podcasters that jump on what I say, and they make a whole they play on fans' emotions by saying you can't blame the fans. It's not the fans' fault. They won't mention my name though, but they're referring it to me because I'm the only one that keeps saying that.
Yep.
And it's almost like I'm on your side, guys. Listen to me. We're in it together. And I think, well, you're part of the problem as well. Then you are part of the problem because until we actually stand up to Enoch as a fan base, whether it's boycotts, whether it's demonstrations, whether it's stop buying club merch, whether it's mass protests, whether it's storming Lilywhite house, right? I don't care. I couldn't care less. Unless we do something, I'm just tired of seeing people, Brian, like the guy from the Spurs show, putting out these tweets, these videos. Well, Enoch, this, the board, that. Mate, pull your finger out. Stop ranting on Twitter and get involved with the protest. Get involved with a boycott. Do something. And then what you'll see is you see 100 comments. Well said. Yeah, he's right. He's right. You're all applauding one another, but collectively you're all doing the best part of fuck all. So you're all the problem, but you're feeling great because now you talk about it. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Only it's like when you see the players training hard in the gym, going to come back stronger, and you think, I don't care. I don't care about your gym videos. Win a game of football. Talk is cheap. Your talk means nothing if you're going to lose another game of football. So the way fans are fed up of seeing players say, I'm sorry, we're going to come back bigger, better, stronger, we're in it together. But fans are sick of listening to players say that when they see the opposite. I'm sick of our fan base talking all these really strong words directed towards Enoch when they do absolutely nothing about it. I think the fans are the same.
Right. So,
what's your take on that, then, Brian?
Let's go for this. So, first of all, I'll talk about like you said, the talking and all the videos after the Conte explosion at Southampton. I do not listen to a single press conference anymore. Not a single one. Because it is so obvious, just templates and copy and paste, just different manager saying different. When he came in, and everyone were like, "Oh, I love how deserving." When Tudor came, everyone's like, "Oh my god, I love how he's talking about the team. I love what I see on training." Okay, all well and good. Didn't reflect on the pitch, did it? And it's so obvious. These managers aren't going to come in and go, "Yeah, do you know what? Half the club is shit, half the players are shit. We're getting them out. We're going to rebuild for the championship next season because these lot can't do their jobs." Blah. They're not going to say that. It's just copy and paste. And the interviews after, I'm sure ever since Conte, they've probably been told you can't say this, you can't do that, you can't. The only talking I listen to is when they cross the white line. That's the only talking that matters. Period. Now, when it comes to the fans, you've been saying it for a long, long time. And I kind of agree and I don't agree, because you've got to look at it. When we say this, I think it's very, very key to say the match day going home fans in a majority, because people that live outside London or can't afford to go to the game.
100%. You're right. Yes, you're right.
People that live abroad, blah, blah, blah. The home day match going fans who give thousands of pounds to the club a year, whether it just be season ticket, food and beverages, club shop, it's their money, spend it as you wish. What I don't get is they see what's going and they don't do anything. I'll let people know. When we were doing our protests opposite the club, Brian Maguire came down from Scotland. He came down from Scotland a few times. He always came down. But what I don't get, when we were doing the protests, and Brian Maguire was one, there might be a few in here that I haven't seen the messages to. But the ones that are going to the match, when we were doing our protests opposite the club shop, and we didn't have the numbers, I don't know where Stel's gone, his Wi-Fi. So when we were doing those protests opposite the club shop, we'd have all the banners out. Sometimes we'd have as little as 10 people. Sometimes we'd have as many as 150. 200 was our top for like the Brentford and Manchester United one. And then so many people walk past us going, "Yeah, get them out. You keep going, lads. I'm with you." It was like, well, why don't you stand here for a bit with us so we don't look like the numbers are so low? And then we can try. It will help. Oh yeah, no, I've got to go somewhere, meet something. I'm meeting someone for a drink. We're meeting at Chick King or whatever it may be. They were going somewhere. They couldn't do it. But then we also had hundreds of people going, "Oh, can I take a picture of the banners?" There's people taking pictures of them and going, "Oh, look, I was there." Blah, blah. You weren't there. You stayed. You took a picture, and you walked off. And you got to remember, we were very little in size compared to Cows for Tottenham. We were very, very small in size. And what we didn't do is we didn't have the media attention. They did that brilliantly, by the way. How they got the exposure on all the mainstream media, papers, everything was absolutely superb. But we never did that. We didn't even have the vision to do that, or the idea, which would have been fantastic for us.
Well, Brian, we didn't have the support of a lot of fans, because at the time it hadn't gone as toxic as what it had gotten the last year or two. So when we were at a point where a lot of fans were still oblivious to what was going on, they were still blind to it. We were at a time where fans were just blaming managers. Oh, it's Poch's lost the dressing room. Oh, Mourinho's a dinosaur. Oh, Conte's stubborn. He doesn't love the club. Oh, we were protesting when fans were blaming managers. It wasn't until I would say the second year of Ange where the fan base actually started saying, "Do you know what? Another manager? Really?" When fans stopped realizing it's not just the managers, that's when the numbers started to grow. So Change for Tottenham got lucky with the timing of it as well, because had there been 3 years prior, it would have been the same shit, because fans, they were blaming the managers. I'll never forget it, because on Tottenham away, we were saying all along, don't blame Mourinho. Don't blame Conte. You bring in checkbook managers and you give them Joe Rodon and Chicken Royales and Clement Longleys and Dan Jumas. What do you think Conte and Mourinho are going to do with that? But most fans didn't want to hear that. They wanted to blame the manager. They wanted to target the manager. Now people are saying, hold on a minute, who's appointing these managers and sacking them all the time? What's going on here? So I think they caught luck with the timing of the fan mood changing away from blaming managers and pointing the finger at the board.
Yeah, I mean,
which is what we were saying from day one, which is why we were Levy out, ENIC out, and they were changed for Tottenham. We're like, no.
Yeah.
ENIC out.
Yeah.
It's the board.
Well, you look at it as well. When we did it, as we were small in numbers, we had unrivaled abuse thrown our way. The piss taken out of us for the numbers. And that we weren't getting anywhere or doing anything. I stood outside with someone that's in the chat, Ryan Isaacs and Graham, 17 days straight during January from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Got taken the mickey out of. Then people said do it at home games, which we did. And we turned up every single week. Every single week, we didn't turn. We turned up, never cancelled. We were the one responsible for getting those balloons on the pitch for Manchester United. We were responsible for the balloons on the pitch for Brentford, and Daniel Levy had his thigh rubbed by his wife. We were responsible for the most pointless exercise in the world, football related, in the Tottenham Hotspur Trust, who came up with their 4 questions when we were piping up. We even ended one of our protesters earlier because you and I spoke to a couple of people in the trust about their ticket one and said, listen, you're going for the board in a different direction. We'll finish ours early, so you have the entire spotlight on you. And then they cancelled their own one and they didn't even turn up to it. We always turned up where we were. We always said what we're going to do. We always did it. We did as we do. We do as we did. And we say what we
always
say.
Backed our chat, Brian. We always backed our chat. If we said we're going to be at the training ground, we were there. If we said we're going to be outside the stadium, we're going to be there. If we said we always turned up. Even if there was 5 of us or 100 of us, we never cancelled.
Never.
And do you know what? That was important because we had to keep the drum banging. We had to keep that Levy out, ENIC out chant going. That noise, we never allowed it to die out. When many wanted it to die out, we never allowed it to die away.
It's why I've got, as you know, still, and anyone, I'm just to put my email address in. It's just on there, my personal email address. Any of you that live in North America, any of you, I am targeting North America this coming season after the World Cup. I'm going to be targeting NFL HQ. I'm going to be targeting NFL shop, NFL matches. Going to get banners made. I'm targeting Nike, the same kind of places. I'll even go as far as going into baseball, just anything where we can get it out. And also Tavistock, which is in Orlando, Miami, Florida, one part of the state of Florida. Because I know full well that there are so many North Americans, and one of them's in the chat, and happy birthday, Curly, my brother in New York. Happy birthday to you, same day as my mum. They are ready. They are ready to protest. And for obvious geographical, logistic and financial reasons, they can't do what Mr. Finland did and just get on a cheap EasyJet or whatever. You can't get an EasyJet flight to come and join. But there's people around the world that want to protest and would. So if anyone in North America, or even if you don't live in North America and you've got ideas or you think you can bring something to the table, my email is in there. I'll put it in at the end of the show as well. Please do reach out to me because it's time that the international fan base, who many have said they want to help, they want to protest, but they can't get there. The North America knows how to hold a protest, especially when it comes to their sports teams. So I'm going to be targeting North America because I've lost all faith and confidence in the home match day going fans. I've just lost absolute, especially after what I don't get. You want to cheer the lads on during Brighton just now? Fine, got no problem with that. In fact, do it for the boys. But when the game ends, just not one ENIC out chant, not one bit of showing your frustrations at this godforsaken board, but just walk out the stadium and for a majority, go to the goal line bar or any of the other bars and just give them more money without saying anything. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind that this club is in the state it's in, and yet still people are doing. Look at Samsung's just going, Manchester United, they got a game cancelled against Liverpool. Chelsea, like you said yesterday, mate, they're protesting because they might not make Europe.
I know.
And
they're protesting. Yeah.
And they have spent money. They have spent ridiculously, with the amount of players they've signed. But Abramovich was spending hundreds of millions. But they have spent millions upon millions at Chelsea, probably close to $1 billion, actually, on buying.
Brian, the Chelsea one's interesting because they blamed Pochettino. After Abramovich, they blamed Pochettino, and they're like, Poch out, Graham Potter out. They started doing what Spurs fans do, manager's fault. And then the turning point was they had a manager who was actually good, who won a couple of trophies, Maresca. And rather than building with Maresca said, I'm leaving by mutual consent. I don't agree with the direction the owners are going in. So he basically told the fans, this board and me, no.
Yeah.
And that's when the Chelsea fans started thinking, hold on a minute, what's happened here? And then everything that's followed afterwards confirms what Maresca was saying. The owners don't know what they're doing. They've wasted all this money. They don't know how to build anything. They're not listening to the managers that they hire. So the Chelsea fans, within 2-3 years, have said, do you know what? This isn't happening to our club. We've got standards. If you're not going to trust the manager and you're going to know better and we're collapsing, then we don't want you at the club. Whereas we've had the exact same problem. Managers not being listened to, managers end up leaving, being sacked.
Yep.
For 3 decades, we've tolerated it. Even more so now, after we were promised about this infrastructure.
Yep.
It's got worse now. And our fan base, let's have a party in the high street. Chelsea fans, no, let's tear up the high street. And that's the difference. Yep. I think the fans of Chelsea have got standards for their football clubs, for their football club. And Spurs fans, I'm sorry to say it, we do not have a high standard for our football club, because if we did, we'd fight for those standards. We'd fight for the soul of the club. We just don't have the standards, Brian, that the great managers before, like the Bill Nicks, the Keith Berkhamshaw, they set the standards, and the current fan base of Spurs are like, no, we don't care about those standards. We're at Chelsea, they've only had standards recently, the last 20 years. They're not letting that shit go. They're like, no, this is it. We're not letting that go. Whereas us, don't worry about it.
Well, you look at it as well. I'll bring up 2 eras: the Harry Redknapp era and the Poch era. Harry Redknapp's era, we were genuine title contenders one season. Genuine title contenders, second in the league at the time of the January window. Things were going great. And then instead of strengthening the team, we went and bought Zaha and Nelson and capitulated. And then that team, your Modric's, your Bows, everyone left the club through lack of ambition. Then you look at the Pochettino team. That Pochettino team, when you think about all the long-term players that Poch had his arm around and signing long-term contracts because they loved the direction of the way it was going, we left White Hart Lane second in the league and genuine title contenders. We went 18 months without a signing. Carl Walker, Harry Kane are the only ones that left for real, genuine big money. Ericsson 20 mil, Son 20 mil at the end of their careers, and then a lot of freebies and cheap lot, and all the commitment again being a couple of players away, real big players away.
I think Modric went for peanuts, didn't he?
Modric went for quite. You got to remember what it was that time, but I think he went for. I think it was around 50. Let's have a look.
No way. Modric went for peanuts.
Modric to Madrid.
Mate, Berbatov went for 30 million.
Yeah, mate. I mean that one. And don't forget, mate, it's all right because we got Fraser Campbell.
We got 30 million.
Yeah, but you got to remember we sold him in the same window as Robbie Keane, the most electric partnership we had and a devastating one, and we replaced it with Fraser Campbell.
Mate, AVB got mugged off the most. AVB lost Gareth Bale, Luka Modric, and Van der Vaart. I mean,
yep.
You lose one big player, like you lose Berbatov, or you lose your Carrick, or you lose your Carl Walker. Mate, he lost 3. We literally sold 3 elite level creme de la creme players, and then we just lost 5-0 to Liverpool. AVB needs to be sacked. You've sold all his best players. You sold all the talent that he had.
You're right, and the chatter right is around 30 million that we sold Modric for.
Mate, yeah. 30 million. We spent more on Archie fucking Gray. Mate, we spent more on Archie Gray.
Yeah, I will say, the one thing you got to look at is different times.
And Odegaard and Tell.
Don't get me so. Listen, I don't want to get into an Archie Gray conversation because I think Archie Gray.
I'm just.
I think he will become a good player. But this leads on to another thing. Any other club, when they buy youngsters, you look at Liverpool, you look at Manchester City. If they have a youngster in their youth or buy one, they bleed them in one or two at a time. And every time they do it, they have proper players alongside them, elite players that have been there, done that to help them through it. We've gone from when we had Dele Alli and he had 10 fantastic players around him. So even if he was having a bad game, the senior pros were there to help him. To then having Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Matisse Tell, Destiny, we just chuck them in at the deep end now. There's no bleeding them in and be surrounded with genuine quality. We buy them as ones for the future, but the future means like right now, as in within a few weeks of you being here or at the start of the season. And when you chuck so many youngsters in and you don't have pure quality around it, unless you are a genuine like O'Reilly or Trent Alexander-Arnold or Foden, you're not going to be able to handle it. But these players that have done so well have had people around them to help them through it as they're young and to help them develop. We just buy players and just chuck them in at the deep end and say, off you go. That's what we do. That's what we do. Tell me one senior player that we have at this football club right now that would get into that peak Poch team. Not one of them. Not one of them.
No, maybe Kudus, maybe.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Mate, started off well. Obviously went off the ball, has been injured for so long. But I don't think a single player doesn't even make the bench on that team.
The problem with Kudus is clubs sussed out that he's all we had. So they just doubled up on him. And when he was doubled up, there was no other player on the pitch to do anything. So
and also God, so you finish. I was just about to say
teams tactically shut him down.
Yeah, because I will say, like Gareth Osborne has just said, with Archie Gray, it just reminded me of Xavi. The one youngster we have that has played Champions League football, played for top clubs, we can't even get him to get in the starting lineup. And you get to see on Saturday why he has to be in the starting lineup. This football club doesn't make any sense. And I want to say a big hello to Dave and Pam Beveridge, who are two people that come to the Scotland Yard regularly and love them dearly. So big up to you. Big up to Dave and Pam.
Brian, big up, guys. Big up. Could we just go for a couple of comments that I've starred because
of course you can, bro.
I think it's just some things that
this is your show, mate. You're the driver.
All right, let's just go for a couple of chats because this is the problem with Tottenham now. This is the problem. So the first one is Chernobyl negative. He's calling us the nuclear negative gang. I guess my question to him would be, what's positive about this? Because this is what you're supporting. This is effectively what you are defending, the running of Tottenham to put us here. So what is the negative here that makes people like me and Brian... Sorry, what is the positive here in this image that makes Brian and I negative for calling that out for the last 5 years?
I will also say...
What'd you make of it? I mean, look, he's trolling. He's clearly trolling. But
he's trolling, but the best part of his trolling is he wants to talk about nuclear when he's got the name Chernobyl in his name. The irony is just hysterical. I listen. People can say we're negative, and it can look negative because we are talking negatively about our ownership of the club. But just because it's negative doesn't mean it's not right. Doesn't mean it's not right. You look at the sing up, show up, stay up bollocks. And just
you mean swing it, shake it, move it, make it, show up, sing up, then we'll.
Exactly. This is the situation we're in. If you're not saying that everything is rosy and back the lads and support them, there's another account. Stick around, Bennett. Love it how
he's my favourite. 1 minute, let me start him because he's my favourite.
This is
in a minute.
Yeah. Well, it's just absolutely blows my mind that everything that we had said, and this isn't saying that everything we had said has come true. Everything.
Yet still, Brian, you see, I these people, these Jack Packs and Nobby Mike, Nobby It's Me and Stick Around Bennett's and Drew Shits and all these accounts, what they prove is this is why so many other channels won't speak the way we speak, because they're scared that Trouble Negative, Jack Pack, Nobby It's Me, Stick Around Bennett, Drew Shits, they're scared of what they will say about them. So because of those accounts, they stop the other YouTubers from talking about what we talk about because they don't want the bad image that comes with these accounts. Whereas you and I are like, well, you're the problem. This is the problem. This is why our fan base cares more about their image and their subs and how they come across, as opposed to actually saying, well, hold on a minute. If you think Enoch's the problem, if you think Levy was the problem, if you think the board are the problem, stop the chat and do something about it. Otherwise, it's all for show because you're too scared of the Stick Around Bennett's, the Drew Shits, and all this lot. You're scared of them, and that's
correct.
That's why they do it.
It's a shame. And do you know what it is as well? They come in on these accounts, don't put their real name, won't have an avatar. They'll make a different account. Everything you and I say has always been behind. Has been behind my everything I say on my social media. I say on my social media about these things. I go on and say there's no need for me to troll or whatever, and it just gets ridiculous. And like you said, if they want to think all things bright and beautiful and think kumbaya and think everything is rosy, fair play, you crack on. But I don't go to other accounts and go, oh my God, shut up, you're happy. This is our views. This is what the channel's about. You want to say something, do your own channel, come in. Am I talking from my bedroom? No, I live in Canada. My parents are in England. This is the thing. Am I talking from my mum's bedroom?
I mean, I want to know. Just say yes. Yes, it's my mum's bedroom. Yes.
My mum lives in. It gives me a chance to say happy birthday, mum, again, because it is. But yeah, this is my spare bedroom in Toronto.
I get told I'm going live from Osama bin Laden's cave, so don't worry about it.
It's just madness, and I want to get back to it. Like you said, when it comes,
the thing is, do they disagree with this, Brian? This is all Brian and I have ever said, right? Get them out.
Yep.
For things to change, the hierarchy needs to change, and right. This has been the core, not just being Brian, all the protesters. Do they disagree with that? Then is that where their kind of frustrations towards us comes from? Because that is what we're about. Let's be honest, Brian. At the core of every argument we have, all roads lead back to them in our world, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do they disagree with that? Is that what they disagree with? That it's not Enoch's fault. It's not Enoch out. So whose fault is it then? Who do they blame? Because we've gone through 18 managers, we've changed kit sponsors, kit manufacturer, we've changed stadium, we've changed infrastructure, we've changed everything but the owners. So who do they blame?
Yep, he's just said ENIC have made us a big club. That's the most moronic thing I've ever heard. We were a big club before ENIC, before Sugar, before. But yeah, it's anyway. I don't want to spend attention.
Okay, no. So then, basically, what they're saying is ENIC in. They want more of this. We won 2 games at home 4 games at home last season. We've won 2 games at home this season. 17th last year, 18th this year. Maybe in the championship next year. This is what they want. Is this what they want then?
It must be. It must be. Look, the managers have had something to do with it. The players have had something to do. There's everything.
You've got the club you want.
The appointment of directors of football and scouts is wrong. Everything has gone wrong. I even had someone at the Scotland Yard telling me that if it wasn't for Levy, we wouldn't have had Bale. I was like, well, Gareth Bale's from Southampton and weren't the player he was. And he started saying we wouldn't have had Modric. I was like, for every good player you name, I'll name you 5 bad ones.
Yeah, but Brian, who cares? Who cares if we had them? We won nothing with them. We won absolutely nothing with them. So signing them means nothing if you're not going to sign other players like them. By the way, there's 6 comments I wanted to go through. We've gone through 1.
Okay, let's go. Let's crack on. Bro. Let's crack on.
Okay, so Jack Pack 6, he's another big fan of mine. Loves me to bits. Brian, can you call me out, please?
So I will say, and Stel knows it. I've said it on all channels, and Stel knows it. I would take a bullet for this man next to me. If this man, he's one of the few that if he called me and said, "Brian, I'm in trouble. I desperately need you," I would find a way to be on the next flight to Cyprus without question for this man. But I cannot state how categorically I don't believe in delegation. I don't believe that. I do not want this football club relegated at any cost. I understand what Stel was trying to say and trying to get at, but I think relegation makes what ENIC won't come up with a footballing plan. They haven't for 25 years. They just haven't. They're not going to change their. Put it this way: if we stay up, nothing changes. It will just be the same bullshit in the summer. We'll sign a few players, not all quality, not all big impact ones. But if we get relegated, it changes everything. It changes everything from losing sponsors, Premier League money. Exactly. I know it hurts. Exactly. No, I know it hurts ENIC, and that would be that's one thing. But this could be a huge problem in selling the club because no one's going to want to buy it and pay the debts and do whatever.
Right. You've just hit the nail on the head. You said if we stay up, it doesn't change anything, but if we go down, it changes everything.
For the worse, still. For the worse.
For the worse for who?
For Tottenham Hotspur, our fan base. How does it affect Brian? How does it affect the fans? We don't own the club, mate. It doesn't, mate. It affects the fact because the football club is just going to fall to pieces. It's going to fall to pieces.
But it's fallen to pieces for the last 6 years.
Yeah, that part I'm with you. But the money that goes in it, or that will be coming. No, I'm totally. I do not, under any stretch of the imagination, want us to get relegated. Not a single one.
I'm going to put my case forward. Okay.
Oh, you can put it across.
I would absolutely be delighted if Tottenham got relegated because of the 99% of fans that facilitated the demise of Tottenham Hotspur. When a handful of fans actually care enough to want to do something about the club, whilst the rest just want to moan, complain, bitch, whine, cry. Yeah, great. Thank you for that. And then most of the YouTubers and podcasters just want to build their media profile and put out videos like how Mawani fixes Tottenham's attack, how Solanke fixes the press, how this player's generational. And then 6 months later, they backtrack on all the videos they made and start slagging off those same players that they told us were brilliant. All those media clout chasing YouTubers who you see on the mainstream media platforms. Yeah, you know, the border problem, and yeah, I'm not going to protest, and yeah, I'm unhappy, but I'm glad that I'm on here getting paid. All of those people I've just described have facilitated the demise of Tottenham. They have facilitated this mess. So for me, if the fan base was like what I'm seeing Chelsea do right now and have standards, I wouldn't want relegation, Brian. I wouldn't want anything to do with relegation. I'd say because the fans are going to hold them to account. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point, something will break and we will force the kind of change that's needed. The problem is our fans simply don't care enough. They're not bothered. They're not interested. They just want to go along on to a match day, support the team, no matter how shit they are, no matter how bad the performance, no matter how awful the decisions are from the board. We just want to support it. Just nod our heads like sheep. So because of that, nothing will ever change at the club. So if the fans actually pulled their fingers out, I'd say, yeah, let's stay in the Premier League. So where I'm at with it is, whilst our fan base continues to be the way it is, relegate the club, maximum payment on ENIC, and those fans, now you're gonna have to wake up to this.
But they won't. Still, they won't. But that's the thing. They won't.
Brian, I disagree with you, and I tell you why. Because they're not going to pack out a 62,000 seater stadium playing Lincoln City. You saw this year in the Champions League against the Copenhagens, against the Villarreals, we couldn't pack it out. Why? Yeah. The tickets were cheap. They're like 35, 40 quid because nobody wants to watch us play those teams. We're too big. So they will change because they'll stop going, right? There's that doesn't help in the stadium. That don't help in the stadium with the pressure. No, but what it does is it's a form of protest. That is a form of boycott. When you don't go to games anymore, I'm boycotting this shit. It forces them to do it. And that's my point. I don't, Brian, deep down, I don't want us to get relegated, man. Of course I don't. Do you think I want to see Tottenham in Division Bloody 1, whatever it's called nowadays, Championship? But I just don't see another way with the state of this fan base to actually force change. Change for Tottenham have sold out, right? They're not going to do it. They're now chasing media careers. So they're not going to do it. Most of our YouTubers and podcasters, they're not going to do it. There's only a handful of us YouTubers, Brian, that actually go to these protests and genuinely care. You, me, Danny, Danlist, even Sava. Even Sava's been turning up to them recently. But the majority of them don't turn up. So how else is anything going to change unless we force it? And I just personally believe, and look, we can disagree on it. It's cool. Yeah, I just personally believe it's the only way to force the change. It's the only way left. That's where I'm at with it. But everyone disagrees with me, by the way. I'm in the minority in this.
Don't get me wrong. You got to remember, I speak fluent still. I've known you long enough to understand what you're trying to say. And there are aspects of it that I think you have some merit to. But I don't want this club relegated under any stretch of the imagination. I do not want it relegated. Never ever. I don't want them gone at all relegated. I think that I do understand what you're trying to get at. I just thinking about Spurs in the Championship gives me nightmares, like literal nightmares. Like literally, if anyone saw me on We Are Tottenham TV on Saturday, I came on after you and after Ben. I was heartbroken. I didn't have it in me to show. I didn't even look at my phone for 2 days. I was literally heartbroken and devastated, Brian, just thinking about it.
Can I pitch something to you?
Of course you can.
I'm not. These aren't guarantees, but I just want to pitch an idea to you. Could you get on board with this if it happened? Okay. If this, I can't. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if this happened, we get relegated. Tottenham have to make quick sales to balance the books, get wages off the books. Bye-bye Van der Ven, bye-bye Romero, bye-bye Danzo, bye-bye Bentancur, bye-bye Kudus, Maddison, right? They all go. De Zerbi's left with some average group of players. The board have got a little bit of money for championship level players. And De Zerbi turns around and says, right, we're going to rebuild this football club. And at the heart of it is going to be the talent within our academy that I'm going to spend a few years with coaching, developing the system we've already learned in the academy, which is De Zerbi football, by the way. Can I say the football the academy plays is De Zerbi football?
Yep.
And I'm just going to take them from youth to adults. Give me a couple of years, maybe 3. And when we go back into the Premier League, you're going to have an Ajax-esque style in place. And I've now opened the pathway for every couple of years. I can bring through a couple more academy players into the team because we've now created that pathway. And when we get back in the Premier League, Give me those special players to add to the nucleus. Is there a world where you could get on board with that if that was to happen?
Oh mate, listen, if we go down to the Championship, as you know more than anyone, I'm the biggest supporter of Alfie Devine ever. I'm obsessed with that kid. I think he literally is going to be a star in English football. I like a lot of the youth team. If it was the Championship, if Spurs said they were going to do that, I've got no problem with it. Got no problem with it. Playing the youth team, got no problem. But then what you've got to look at, I'll tell you now. My thoughts on De Zerbi. He has said this week that the most important thing for me than staying at this football club is that the board and everyone have to be on the same page as me. Because if we're not on the same page, then that's the most important thing. He said, forget the division, forget the players I have. It's got to be the relationship I have with the board. And I think we all know what this board do. And I think it will come to the window, whatever league we're in, whatever league we're in this summer. And when it comes to a player he wants, they'll go, no, we're not going to go for that. We'll get you column A or column B. And then he'll pull a Conte. I would be absolutely... I'm a big fan of Ashley Phillips as well. I'm a massive fan of Ashley Phillips. Seeing people like him, Divine, playing in the spine of the team. I have no problem with that in the Championship.
Mike Moore.
Do you reckon Mike Moore, will he go back to Rangers?
No, he'd come to Spurs.
So there's another one. That I've not got a problem with seeing. You got to remember, we got told that this
even the academy goalkeeper Gunter. Gunter's a really good goalkeeper.
Yep, he is.
I'm just saying. Do you know what? I'm actually, Brian. I'm going to admit this. I'm sick to death of us trying to build a team. I'm sick to death of us trying to build a project. I'm sick to death of us. Oh, here's a good player. Here's a good player. Here's an average player. Here's a shit player. And I don't think that's ever going to change with these muppets at the top, right? I don't think it's ever going to fucking change with these donkeys in charge. I just want a complete reset. Everyone out. Just flush the whole thing out because you're all part of a broken culture. You've all been damaged by our club's damaged you. You've come in damaged as well. I just want a clean youth project, Ajax style, kind of what Leeds used to do back in the day. Do you remember Leeds under O'Leary?
Mate,
Brian.
Wait, well, 1 second. AS winner. I've just got to address him. No, I'm going to call this out very quickly. Then we go back to yours. If you're true to your word, can't opt in or out. You carried the good work with STEL10S in a few years back, but your reluctance in not coming on the Delegation WhatsApp group not help. Right. So, first of all, Stel will vouch for it. I never, ever stay in WhatsApp groups. Ever. Because Stel started a new group, I said, no,
who cares about that? Who cares?
Yeah, but it just bothers me. And then when people want to say, with STEL10S, with the few years' work they did, I think you need to go back and look at what I did and what I continue to do and what I'm trying to do here in North America. And when I go on...
Brian did more than all of us. Brian was at the training ground every day for a whole month.
Training ground, NFL protest, every home day protest. Went on, like you, we are Tottenham TV all the time. I don't do WhatsApp groups because they become poisonous. I wake up to seeing people disagreeing on something like 700 bloody messages. I don't do them. That's got nothing to do with opting in and out of anything. If anyone wants to say I'm opting in and out of trying to get this board out, then you haven't done your research. You haven't looked into what I've done over the last 6 years on YouTube and 12 years prior off of YouTube. I've been on all the Sky News, BBC. I've been
Brian,
on.
you've got nothing to prove, mate.
I know.
No one. You've got nothing to prove to anyone about what you've done, mate. Like, don't even buy into that.
It's madness.
Don't buy it. Yeah. Don't buy it.
You had more stars. Sorry, you had more stars. We got through two.
What I was saying is, do you remember back in the day? Do you remember O'Leary at Leeds built that young that young Leeds team that almost won the league, and then you
Yep.
had West Ham United with Tony Carr as the head of the academy. And Redknapp, they had that young West Ham team. I want to see a Tottenham that builds that as the nucleus, as the core. And I think if you go into the Championship, you buy yourself time to have the patience to do it. Because the problem in the Premier League is there's no patience. We want top 6 straight away, top 4 straight away. No one's prepared to finish 10th for 3 years in a row whilst we build it. The board don't have the patience because they want the financial rewards of top 4. The fans don't have the patience because they're paying top whack to watch Tottenham play football. And the managers, they're under pressure to achieve, so they don't have the patience. Whereas if you go into the Championship, tough. There's no choice. And if we were, and again, it's a big if we built a young under 21 squad and then slowly brought it into the Premier League, and you had these core players that love the badge, love the club, like what Harry Kane did.
Yep.
Like Harry Kane showed us, like love the club. Now we've got a really strong force to then say, right, add Kudus, add Maddison, add this player, add that player. I think that's the only way forward for Tottenham Hotspur, because I just feel that if we just keep doing what we're doing with this, buying players, hoping it works, spending 40 on Tell, spending 30 on Odebert, spending 20 on Udogie, and I just don't ever think it's going to work for us. And we'll always come second best to Man United, to Arsenal, to City. We'll never, ever challenge unless we build a nucleus, but we haven't got the patience for the nucleus in the Premier League. What do you think of that?
Look, like you said, with a lot of what you said, I agree with, but I think going down to the Championship, where is it all for the youth that we've got coming through? It could be a gateway to getting them in and showing what they can do, and building. I'm looking at this purely financially, and I don't want to be. And I'm not doing this as ENIC or whatever. The money we owe on the stadium and everything, with Championship money, Championship TV, the sponsorships will lose. Yes, it's going to hurt ENIC. Yes, it's going to hemorrhage them money. Yes, they look idiots. But we have got so much debt, which the club have put all on Tottenham. So if they'd sell the club, they walk away scot-free. Scot-free, and just with their bag of billions. The impact being in the Championship, and I'm going to be honest, if we go down, I don't think we come up at the first attempt. I think we're barely. I don't think we're.
But you see that for me, I see it as a positive because that's the patience that we haven't had. If we stay there, you're forced to be patient. Whereas in the Premier League, I just don't think there's any patience for a project. None.
That part I agree. But if we go down, Spurs fans are good. There's still Spurs fans saying, "Oh, we're going to win the Championship. We'll easily come back up," but we won't. You look at it when we've been playing 2-3 games a week because of European. The Championship is more games, more physical, more demanding. There's then Carabao Cup and FA Cup entries. You go in earlier, and we can't handle. We couldn't handle it when it's 2 games a week. This season, last season, we struggled, and Spurs fans are going to want immediate return. So. Whereas I would like to see
it. They won't get that. They won't get immediate.
No, they won't get it. They won't get it. But then they still won't do anything. I'm literally.
Yeah, but the club, Brian. But here's the beauty of it: the club won't be able to sack the manager because they're not going to pay £48 million compensation. The Zerbi's pulled ENIC's pants down royally. He has locked in the club into this long-term deal, which means in the Championship. You can't afford to pay this guy off. You better stick with him, which gives us a chance to actually be patient. There's actually a chance to be patient for once.
Yeah.
That said, we could also stick with him in the Premier League and be patient. It works both ways. But in the Premier League, they can actually afford to pay him out of his contract. That's the difference. They can afford
but also you've got to look at it the other way. There's no relegation release fee from him, so he can just say, "I resign." And walk away without the payoff. And you got to remember what I find so amazing, so incredible with the board is they won't pay the money for players and they haggle over 4 or 5 million or the wages. Yeah, when it comes to a manager, he's like, I don't want to come, I don't want to come, I don't want to come, I don't want to come until the end of next season or this season, see where you are. I don't want to come, I don't want to come. And then all of a sudden, Spurs whacked down a massive whopping contract on him, made him the third highest paid manager in the league, and offered him a massive bonus for keeping us up. So they find this money somehow for the managers, like they had to with Conte when Nuno fucked up. They had to go back to Conte and they made him a whopping transfer, whopping contract. They'll find the money for that. But we heard from Vinay going into Windows, there's not a lot of money about. But all of a sudden, there's a seven-figure release fee. No relegation release fee, but he could just resign and say, fuck you with your payment. I've made a good chunk of change whilst I've been here. And the second that they go against him transfer-wise on a couple of players, he'll leave. He'll leave. He'll do a Conte. He's left all his clubs because he's gone nuts at the board. And you've come to the club where this board will send you goddamn nuts. Regardless, we have become the Watford of the Premier League for managers. Chelsea do it, but Chelsea back their managers with hundreds of millions.
Not anymore. Now Chelsea have got problems.
Yeah, now they've got. I'm saying in the past they have.
Yeah, under Abramovich, yeah, they got it.
Like literally with Abramovich or whatever, he came in and goes, right, I'm going to back you. I'll give you hundreds of millions, but if you don't win the league or at least compete for it, you're gone. Or you don't win it, you're gone. That's it. If you do not win the league or challenge for a major trophy, goodbye, and we'll do it again. We keep doing it, and we just keep going, there's the squad, make it better. We can have Pep Guardiola and Klopp as manager and assistant manager. They wouldn't be able to win the league with this team. They wouldn't be able to get the. And like you said before, you hire Mourinho and Conte. Well, Mourinho was just a vanity project. He wanted him for 20 years. Knows that every club he goes to, he spends hundreds of millions, wins everything, makes it toxic, and fucks off. If anyone is saying that Jose Mourinho came here and said, do you know what? That right back that we're desperately missing is Matt Doherty. Get me Matt Doherty. In what world would half of these players, like you said, Joe Rodon, in any world be picked by Jose Mourinho? At any club. It's Matt, and the same with Conte. We're giving him a £150 million war chest. He only got to spend 100 of it. And 100 million of that, Conte would spend that on 2-3 players, maybe even one. No, we get 7. And Clement Longap. Don't forget Clement Longap. This is what this football club does. So I don't think even De Zerbi in the Championship is going to get backed. And he'll piss off. And then it'll be, who's next? Who's next?
Well, look. Let's go on to the next couple of questions.
Let's do it.
Yeah, who is next? Who is next? He's not right, is he? Brian's not wrong. Nobody, it's me. Stell's views are garbage. They don't represent Spurs fans. I'll tell you what's interesting about this one.
Go on.
I was on We Are Tottenham TV the other day, and I gave a really thorough explanation of where we're at. And they clipped it. 22,000 views so far. 22,000. That's more fans than sit in the entire South Stand. So this kind of comment, the actual data, the facts, kind of makes your comment look a little bit silly. Just putting it out there. I don't make up the viewing numbers, by the way. They are what they are. Yeah. Jack's back. Stel, if fan standards are in the mud, how the hell is relegation going to help? Because it forces fans to accept what's just happened and tolerate the patience for a proper project, because we have no patience. Kind of what I was saying to Brian about 5 minutes ago. Stick around, Bennett, my number one fan. Love you loads, brother or sister or whatever gender or race you are. I don't know. The 2 biggest losers in the Spurs fan base. Brian, do you know what always cracks me up about these ones? Who's the bigger loser? The person that calls others losers, or the person who sits there watching losers and listening to losers?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a chicken and the egg, but also this is the thing. Yeah. That's the word they say. If I don't call Spurs fans that don't support ENIC out losers. Do I think that they're not seeing the bigger or don't want to? Yeah, I do. Do I call them losers? No. And if I was to call them losers, do you know what I'd do? I'd do it on my own account. I'd do it with a picture of myself and with everything. It's just sad that this is what happens, where people's lives is going. They think, do you know what I'll do for a hobby or spare time? I'll come in and troll others. Exactly. It's like that, this is what people are doing with their lives. They come into streams that they know they don't support or like, and try to be funny and shit, but they just look stupid. They just look stupid.
Do you reckon? Because they've all got fake names, you don't know who they are. Do you reckon they're West Ham fans? I reckon they're West Ham fans.
God knows. God knows. It could be one of my regular trolls. I've got a couple of them. So
I've got loads.
So who knows? It's just madness.
I like them. I keep them in the chat because they help YouTube. I don't know how the algorithm works, but the more people in the chat, the more YouTube puts it out to people to come and watch you. So
of course
they help me get my message. They help me get my message out there. So I quite like them.
Exactly.
Tribal, big up. Why did I change my channel name? The reason I changed it is because I moved to Cyprus partly because I'm starting an AI company, and AI came with the name Stelios, but the I and the O is a 10, as in the number 10. And it said that this has got the best chance of growing. So I thought, right, I'm going to see if AI actually works when you ask it a random question like, what's a really good name for a channel? What will give it? So I'm running an experiment is my answer to you.
Hey, it's where I got Late Night Lilywhite from for my evening shows.
No. Nick Becker, that youth development is all well and good, but there are certain realities to that. I like the way how we come in with the negatives on it, right? I like the way, let's do this. Let's do this. Number one, that's hard to build. What is easy to build? Tell me what is easy to build. Because it took Klopp 5 years. It took Arteta 6 years and he's still failing. It took Fergie 5 years. There's nothing easy to build. Number two, if they are...
let me just say my bit on that bit. So very quickly, we've had the opportunity to build. We did it with Harry Redknapp. We were doing it with Martin Yole. We were doing it with Poch. And every time we've tried it, rather than building on it, especially the Poch one, because the team was set and they're all turning long-term contracts, after that season where we finished second, we just needed 2-3 players of real quality, and you've got a championship winning team. But nope, what we'll do is we'll keep signing the wrong players or cheap players, and then those long-term contracts will go, and then the players won't sign a new one, and we end up either letting them go, like Lloris, like Rose, like Vertonghen, like Wanyama, like Moussa Dembele for a cheap amount of money. So we have all the quality of a Rolls Royce that just need a couple of additions, and we end up selling them for scraps, for second-hand car scraps. So it's just madness. So we have had the chance to build, and we have been building, and every time we're at the pinnacle, ready to get the final pieces of the jigsaw, the cherry on the cake, whatever terminology you want to use, rather than doing it, we don't, and then we pay the price for it. There you go, still down number 2.
We've had many a time to build a proper team, haven't we?
Yeah.
Number 2, if they're any good, they will go to bigger clubs. Right. I've been working in youth football for 12 years. You don't know if they're any good at this level unless you give them a chance. And a chance isn't 10 minutes at the end, 30 minutes against Burnley. It's a good run of 10 games. Give you a good example. Look at that winger for Liverpool.
Rayo or whatever is that? Rio or whatever.
Yeah. It's taken him a run of games to really click. Right? Not every youngster is like O'Reilly at Man City who comes in and looks like an absolute
He's incredible.
And
is he English?
I don't know his.
I really hope. Yeah, I know. Let's have a look.
Well, not every youngster's like that, because Harry Kane, when he burst onto the scene, he wasn't. Wow, look at him! It took Kane 2 or 3 years
English.
of low.
He's English.
Okay,
thank God.
So you look at the kid at Liverpool. It's taken him a little bit of time. You look at O'Reilly, just bang. Harry Kane, it took him time. So youngsters will peak at different times as they become adults. So the answer, Nick, is if they're any good, we don't know if they're any good until they're given proper opportunities. And that's the whole point. But, do you know what always cracks me up, Brian? When we sign an Odebert, a Tell, an Archie Gray, Bergvall, and they play shit, we say, "I'll get off their back. They're only kids. Freaking hell, give them time." Why don't we say that about our academy players? Why aren't our academy players given that same privilege that we give the young players that we sign? It's almost as if we spend £30 million on a youngster, they're allowed 2 years before they get it right. But with our academy kids, or if they're any good, they wouldn't be here. I fully disagree. I've worked in youth football for too long. Until you give these kids a chance, we will never know. And the last, is there anything you want to say on that, Brian?
Yeah. I'm also. I mean, you got to look at what other teams. You said that they said the full name of the where is it, of the Liverpool player? Where is it? Rio. I'm not even going to try and I'll butcher his surname. Rio.
Let's just call him Rio. We know who we're talking about.
Let's just call him Rio. Just I don't want to butcher his name. He's been brought in. Look at the squad around him. Look at the squad around him to help him. Listen, Liverpool have had a rough season by their standards, but they have quality around him to show him through a game, to help him, that he can play off of. You look at even back in the day with Gerrard, the only time it's worked en masse is when the class of 92 came through, and their class stood out like they were night and day above some of the first teamers, and they went on to have great success. Today in football, you can't just throw these youngsters in. Oh yeah, like West Ham did with Carrick, Rio, Joe Cole. They had a wonderful, and they bled them through. You can't just chuck these youngsters that we've got in. These ones that we get told they're ones for the future. I believe some of them are. I honestly believe, and we're not going to get into the huge, he's shit, he's good, whatever. I believe there's a player in Archie Gray. I'm not as far supportive as Lubo is, but I think there is a very good player in Archie Gray. Problem is, we've chucked him in the deep end. Last season, he had to play midfield, centre-back, right-back, left-back. Now he's getting more time in midfield. But look at around him. Look what Dele Alli had around him. He had Wanyama and Dembele behind him. An absolutely, like, brick wall. He had Eriksen, Son, and Kane above him. And he also had that back five that we had that was superb. Not just class around him playing football, but if he was going a bit mad, getting a bit going into it a lot and everything, those players were there to calm him down. They were there to say, right, listen, just calm down. We'll see it out. Just don't do anything for this team. Look at all of them being chucked in now. And we're demanding better from them, which we all should do, even the senior players. But when you chuck these players that come from the Championship, Bergvall from the second division in Sweden, and then you go, right, there you go, lads, full time in the Premier League, off you go. What chance have they got? What chance have they got? Not generational. They're not like your Wayne Rooney's, Trent Alexander-Arnold's that are going to set the world alight. These youngsters need quality around them to help them. But no, this football club, go off you go, jump off the deep end and see if you swim. And at the moment, they're sinking because of the quality around them. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, there's no proper mentors around. The environment is wrong. The environment at Tottenham is all wrong. You can't develop. It's very difficult to develop youngsters like this. Your last point, Nick, is that is ENIC's dream model. I would say we are ENIC's dream customers. I would say that we give them exactly what they want.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I'm not even joking when I say this. I'm saying this with full conviction. I literally think in the years that we've been protesting still, in like the 6 years like physically protested, I think that regularly the board just meet up and go, oh my God, can you believe we're getting away with this? And laugh. They're like, it doesn't matter what we do or what we say. Even when we had our protests that weren't big, and you'll remember the Levy spotters used to come out and take selfies showing how much there was or whatever. They probably go back and go, oh my God, we're ripping them off. We don't buy players with quality. We raise the season ticket. We do this, we do that.
They can look at all the results, all the performances, correlate them to income on a match day and say, right, when the result dips, when a certain goal goes in, if it's a late equaliser, a late loss, a late winner, the different type of competition against Championship, against Europe, against the best teams in Europe, against the Premier, they can look at all the different match day scenarios and then the games after and before, correlate it with the income streams and say, are there any peaks and troughs that we can correlate to the matches? And what it will show them is, no matter how shit we are, no matter how badly we do in the transfer window, no matter how poorly we mismanage the appointment and hiring of managers and firing of managers, we're still making enough. We're still making enough to make us viable as an elite business. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure this year they've been a bit rattled by some of the dips, but you know they've got enough data to know what they can get away with, right? They've got enough data to know what they can get away with as a business. So this is why, for me, I say only the fans can force the change, because we're the only ones that can shift that data. But
correct.
But most people, they're not bothered. Last one here. How do you go to games and manage to push protests when you live in Cyprus? Right, mate. I moved to Cyprus 2 months ago, so I don't go to the games or protest anymore. So the last 2 months I've been here, I don't go anymore.
Yep, and I have flown in from Toronto for a couple of them just to protest and then gone home or stayed for a little bit longer. But just because we're not in the epicenter doesn't mean that we don't do what we do to try and talk how we feel about the board, to spread awareness, to whatever you want to say about it. It comes to a point where, like I said, I'm going to try and arrange things in North America, and we go from there, because it doesn't only have to be protest at the game. And I've lost all confidence. I've lost all confidence of the fans to even go, do you know what, for one game we've decided that we're not going to spend in the club shop, or we're not going to buy any beers or food in the club. As a let's see, they won't even come together for that. They won't even come together for that. It would have a huge impact if they saw on a match day that there was no take-ins at the shop, or very, very low take-ins at the shop and the bar and the food. They would be, oh shit, here we go. This has been a big problem. You look at Arsenal, that lot down the road that we all hate. Their fans said, right, enough is enough. Like you said, still rightfully, for 2/8. They had a huge protest where a load of people boycotted the game. Loads of, and then they went straight to and got Josh in and changed how they do their setup. And they spent years since then building a squad that's, yes, they're bottling the league and they have done and come second. But I would much rather be in their position than ours, where they have been building a squad.
Yeah.
Even listen to Mikel Arteta, who hadn't even had a job, and he said, listen, Aubameyang and Ozil are bad eggs. I need them out of the club. Get them out. They didn't say, wait a minute, you've just got here. They're on 350 grand a week. They're on huge contracts. We have to keep them. They're like, okay, this will be on your head. We'll get rid of them. And that was in the first couple of years that he'd been there. Could you imagine if someone turned around and said, for example, Harry Kane was a bad egg, we need him out? Do you reckon Levy would go, all right, we'll do whatever? No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. If our players on a big contract, if De Zerbi said they've got to go by whatever means necessary, even if you pay their contract off, they're out, they're a bad egg, they're going nowhere. They'll be money.
Their owners have got a history though. They've won the NFL with their NFL franchise. They've won the Stanley Cup with their ice hockey.
Yeah. They've won a lot of stuff.
Lacrosse. They've wone the NBA basketball. All the sports businesses they've owned have all won major honors. So, and you know what? And you know what? If they don't win anything this year, they'll get rid of Arteta and they will bring in a manager that gets them over the line. You know they will, because they're fully invested. They're fully invested in one Arsenal to win trophies, whereas our owners, they're not invested in glory and success. We never have been. We never will be, unfortunately. So this is why we protest. This is why we've been on the high street for the last God knows how many freaking years, and it's why now, when you see shit like this, you've got people like Brian and I saying, we fucking tried to tell you. We tried to say to fans, we've got to do something.
Mate, can you imagine if that was any of the other big six, which if they were in this position right now, there would be absolute carnage.
Anarchy. Man United, they broke into the stadium and prevented Liverpool Man United going ahead. And that wasn't, and they weren't in a relegation position. They weren't in a relegation zone.
Mate, when Manchester United were in the Carabao Cup final a couple of years ago, when they won it, they were screaming Glazers out the whole game, even when they were winning.
Yeah, I know.
They don't stop. Yeah.
Chelsea might not get Champions League. Blue coat out. Get them out.
No, Champions League, man. They might not get Europe the way they're going.
Brian, do you remember? When we were talking, is he going to go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? And do you remember we had some sections of our fan base that were saying, if he wants to go, let him go. We don't want players at the club that don't want to be here. And I could not believe we were saying that, and we weren't saying, fucking hell, Enoch, buy players to keep Harry Kane here, build a freaking team around him. What are you doing? Instead, we had quite a few fans saying, if he wants out, I don't want him at my club. And I thought, we're just going to let the best striker in world football go like that. And the killer, and this was the one where I realised up here, we've lost the plot, is when those same fans were saying, we're better without him because he's a focal point and it doesn't allow the other players to come into the game. We're a one-trick pony with Kane. Oh, really?
Mate, honestly.
Solanke, Moani, Tell, Richie. How are we now with them? And Harry Kane is going to win another Bundesliga. He's smashing all the records.
He's won it. They won it this weekend.
Another league title. And Brian, if he wins the Champions League, they are saying he's going to win the Ballon d'Or. He could become Ballon d'Or. And we didn't want him, Brian, because he's a one-trick pony. We're a one-trick pony football club.
The way I look at it with Harry Kane, first of all, on the Ballon d'Or, whether he wins the Champions League or the World Cup, he is the best player in the world. And it's not even, everyone is just arguing for second. But it's such a shame that in this world it's come to, unless he wins the one or the other, the Champions League or the World Cup, he won't get it. He won't get it. And that's how sad football has become. As for Harry Kane leaving, I always thought Harry Kane was going to leave. I never wanted him to leave. In fact, the goodbye message he did where he weren't allowed into the training ground broke my heart. But then actually seeing him in a Bayern Munich kit finished me. Absolutely finished me. Like you said, all those forwards that we've bought since then, you could morph them all together like a Power Ranger to make one super striker. They still would not be fit to lace Harry Kane's boots or wipe his arse. They would still be, you put all our forwards and strikers together, they're still not the level of... And you look at it, I would have understood Kane going, but I understand going because like all players, they sign contracts, but Harry Kane always said, match my ambition, I'll never leave here. We didn't match his ambition. He did everything that Spurs asked of him. Go for your golden boots, be a match winner, do everything, be the face of Tottenham Hotspur, always in the news for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. But we didn't match his ambition. He went. Don't blame him at all. Don't blame him at all. But when you have the best player on the planet, who's even got better whilst he's been at Bayern Munich, it's madness. And then when you see him replace, you look at it, we lost our star in Gareth Bale. Look what we replaced it with. We lost our star in Harry Kane. Look what we replaced it with it. We lost Heung-min Son. We still haven't replaced him. 2 windows. We went in with needed a left winger. We left January needed a left and right winger. It's just madness. Harry Kane, that should have been another moment that broke the straw that broke the camel's back. Harry Kane going and his replacement. And let's face it, we wouldn't have got Mawani in unless Solanke had that injury, which remember was only going to be a few weeks, which ended up being 5 months. And we brought him with Kolo Muani. And I tell you what, Vincent Janssen offered more than Kolo Muani. Honestly, the level of recruitment, they just draft people in. There's no plan like this player. What's their best attributes? We only got Xavi because we fucked up with Eze and my man Morgan Gibbs-White. That's the only reason we got Xavi and Maddison's injury. They had to act. We only got Gallagher because of Bentancur. Gallagher, who had his best game in a Spurs shirt on Saturday, although that's not a very high bar to have beaten, only came in because of Bentancur. If Bentancur hadn't got his injury, he wouldn't have come, and we would have ended up with just D'Souza. That would have been it. The only reason they come in is, right, we've lost that player. Does this player come in and do the job? And I was actually quite happy when we bought him. I wasn't under Adge. I thought it was the wrong player for Adge, but I got it under Frank. I got what he brings could benefit Frank, but then Frank goes, and rightfully so, even though I was his biggest supporter. Boy, did I get that wrong. But we always seem to buy for the previous manager. Because Xavi would have worked absolutely brilliantly under Edge. But no, we won't get him during the Edge time. There's so many players we have bought for teams that would have been perfect for the previous manager, but we don't get the manager in hand, the perfect player for him. Junior Mafia, you do make me laugh, brother. Very good friend of mine. He does make me laugh. He does make me laugh.
Listen. They're triggered. They're triggered.
Oh no, that's not Junior Mafia is one of the biggest Levy outers you'll find, but he loves winding people up. He's a big wind-up merchant, and he.
Oh right, is he on one?
Yeah, he's on one with his first comment. If that is his first comment, I told him once via DM that I thought Levy got a great price for. I have great friends with Jeff Simpkin.
Brian, what do you make of this?
Go on. Well, I will say apparently this came out as fake. There's a lot of people saying, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Jose Mourinho has said, and he relentlessly. No, apparently some of that is fake. He has said some of it before in the past. Listen, he's gone for Tottenham. He regularly, when he does interviews, talks about his life at Tottenham. I mean, you bring that man in, and you know what that man does.
He's got a grudge with us because we didn't allow him to have that cup final.
Mate,
in his head, he can't understand it, and rightly so. I mean, I don't freaking understand it, especially for Ryan Mason being in charge instead. I thought that was just
but this is the thing. But from what I've heard, the whole thing was that Southampton game we had in the league beforehand. Jose wanted to rest as many players as possible ready for the Carabao Cup final. And Levy said, no, top 4 is still a possibility. You have to go for top 4. And do I know Levy said that? No. But does it sound like something Levy would say? Absolutely. I would have rested as many people as possible for that. I would have literally had so many players on the bench that game ready for the final, but no. And they used the Super League as the big cover up for it. Because it was the same day as the Super League that he left or was fired, whatever you want to call it. Mate, address it, but my brother, we can say this as well. You look at Eric Lamela and Brian Hill. We signed Brian Hill, who was at the Olympics, but we couldn't have signed. Who's the Japanese guy that we wanted that was at Arsenal, the right back? Why can't I remember?
Tomiyasu.
Yeah, we couldn't sign Tomiyasu because it was a difficult deal to do in the Olympics. But then we went and signed Brian Hill, who was at the same Olympics, gave him Lamela, and then even gave Brian Hill back to them.
Mate, do you know what worries me? Okay, you bring in De Derby. What's the point if you're going to have, Lange and Vinay both need to go.
Oh,
they
mate.
both need to go. They can't. I would never, ever, ever, ever forget that January window we had. Conor Gallagher, when we needed goal scorers. De Souza, who played 1.5 games, we haven't seen him since.
Yep.
We never worked right back. We'd rather play a right back at left back. And then was it some 16-year-old kid from Ireland? Was it?
Yeah, no, from Hearts.
Lower leagues.
From Hearts.
From Hearts, Scotland. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
but
a 16-year-old who we're never going to see. Yeah. A 16-year-old who we're never going to see. A midfielder who doesn't score goals when we needed someone that scores goals. And a left back who's played 20 senior games in his life, who we'd rather not play ahead of a right back playing in his position. That is the most criminal window in the history of this football club. When we were on our knees, when we were broken, man, we were finished. We had nothing left, and we went and signed those three, and then we wonder why we're 18th in the league now. On top of that, Brian, the hiring of Tudor, man. I mean that.
Yep. So let me just go through. I put a massive thread on Twitter. I'll just go through very quickly what our January transfer window business has looked like in recent years. Let me find it. Recruitment. Here we go. So let's go through this. So in 2026, we signed Souza and Gallagher. 2025, Danso and Tell, where we have major injuries. 2024, Levy blessed us with Timo Werner and Radu Dragusin. 2023, we had Pedro Porro that we signed on the last day of the window, where we know we wanted him on the first day of the window, but Levy haggled all window just to pay the same amount they wanted on the first day. 22nd, January 2022. Oh, and Danjuma. Let's not forget that world beater Danjuma. 2022, Kulusevski and Bentancur, which granted they had an immediate impact. Been injury merchant since, but they had an impact. 2021, no signings for Jose. 2020, Steven Bergwijn, who we didn't want, and we lost out on Bruno Fernandes. So we signed Gedson Fernandes. 2019, no signings. Oh, sorry, Lucas Moura. No signings. 2018, Lucas Moura. 2017, no signings. 2016, and this is the best one. Do you remember when we signed that great player from Ebbsfleet Town? I forgot his fucking name. What was his god? Shiloh Tracy from Ebbsfleet Town. Ebbsfleet Town that wasn't bought for the first team. And then 2015, 11 years ago, we signed Dele Alli. And then he went back on loan, obviously came back. And Dele was a success for the first 2-3 years. Those are, I'm not cherry picking. That is our last transfer windows in January for the last 11 years. How can I cherry pick what we factually did in January? How can I factually cherry pick exactly what we've done? That's exactly what we've done in the last 11 years. The exact signings that have come in January. Oh, and I left out Bergvall. Sorry, I left out Bergvall. My bad. But apparently, I've cherry picked the absolute facts of the last 11 years. That's it. Block him for his last comment.
Which one?
The one at you're 7 hours ahead of me. 8:47. The third comment.
Are you afraid of death threats on YouTube? Yeah, I'm shitting it. I live in Cyprus.
What a weird. What
I live 3,000 miles away from the UK. Yeah.
Yes, me 5,500. Do your death threats get? What's a pathetic human being? Honestly.
Yeah, but it just exposes the broken soul within. Like when you live a life where that's how you've got to talk and that's how you've got to portray yourself. Yeah. Within you're hurt, man. Something's got to you in life, and it's just. So I kind of feel sorry for them. So let them get that pain out. Hopefully I help them. Hopefully I'm a cure. Maybe. Big up to Jordan who's just asked for a shout out. So big up to you. It's just utter madness. The way people come in and talk these things. Death threat. Honestly, it makes me laugh. There's a lot of people going through life with a lot of pain, and you know. Yeah. They don't know how to, I don't know, speak to a friend, speak to someone about their problems. So because we're very vocal, we're very opinionated, we're an easy punching bag for people. Like I'll just take out my life's problems on him because he's easy to punch, and I see through it. You know, I see through it. Oh yeah, listen, we need my mental health history and everything. Yeah, man, Brian. There's a lot of people out there. You know, mate. You know, Brian. You know, right? Yep. There's a lot of people there that are they haven't dealt with their demons. They haven't got on top of their demons, and it gets the better of you. And YouTube, and I see it. I see it a lot on political platforms. I see it a lot in news feeds. I see it a lot on football fan channels. People go in there and they're hurting, man. They're in pain. So as long as they don't actually say anything, racist or full on. What's the word? As long as there's like a line in it, don't cross that line. And I'm here to help. I'm here to help you get through whatever struggle you're going through. I want to help. So I let them do it. I let them say it. But what were you saying? The last bit about the youngsters? Because I caught the last bit about Bergvall. Oh no, Bergvall we signed in January, didn't we? I forgot to put him in one of the windows. Yeah. So I forgot to add him, but Bergvall is one. But another one, like we said, when we've been in serious trouble and we need help, we sign these players, and there's people going, "Oh, if Levy was still here, he would have invested big." He doesn't. He doesn't in January. I'm not triggered at all by you stick around, Bennett. I just think you're remarkably sad. That's all. That's all. No, he's not well. He's unwell. I told you, inside. Within. But listen, they will target you, they will target Sava, they will target me because they know that most likely we will react. And that's the punching bag mechanism, isn't it? Like if I punch you, I know you're going to hit back. And they get the fight they want because they're fighting within. They can't fight their own battles within themselves. So they need to find a fight to pick with someone outside of themselves. That's what they do. Brian, that's why honestly, I've sussed them all out. I get what these characters are like. You just gotta let them know that I understand. I understand what you're going through, and I hope you find what you're looking for. And that's the reality. Yeah, well, if he's got any issues, I hope he does find them. I'm a massive advocate of mental health. Me too. Yeah. Mate, I had to take a break. I had to take a break recently because of mental health. And it's a massive issue. But listen, we've only got 10 minutes left. And by the way, everyone watching, thanks for watching. Smash the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure also you go and check out Brian Dagul's channel. Obviously, if you don't know by now, I mean, where have you been all your life? Tottenham on tour. Make sure you go and subscribe those. Make sure you go and follow and watch those guys too. We're going to redirect you to the 2 marks in 10 minutes because they're going live at 7 p.m. UK time. But before we do, Brian, I just want to end it on this. Let's do it. I want to end it on this. Yep. Right. The top games have already been played. So Leeds beat Man United, Forest beat Burnley, West Ham got a draw last night against Palace, Tottenham drew with Brighton. So the points that you see there aren't quite right. But Spurs are 18th, and we are 2 points behind West Ham, and I believe, is it 5 points behind Forest? We are, 5 points behind Forest. So with the games left, I think it's fair to say that Leeds are going to win at least one or two more games. Look, Leeds are safe. I think everyone thinks Leeds are going to be safe. Forest are almost safe. If they can win one more game, they're probably safe. If you're a betting man, you're saying it's between Tottenham and West Ham, right?
Yep.
With the games left, it's advantage West Ham only because they've got 3 home games left, whereas we've only got 2. Having said that, I don't know if us having home games is an advantage.
Exactly. It's not.
So when you look at it, who's going to get more points? West Ham playing Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Leeds, or Tottenham playing Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, and Everton. Look, we both play Everton. We both play Leeds. They've got Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle. We've got Wolves, Villa, Chelsea. It's so hard to call, bro. It's so hard to call.
It is, but I've said it since I've been thinking it since the North London derby. But after the Forest defeat, I was like, it's done. It's done. Listen, we have a chance to get those points. We are just 2 points behind them. So they get a defeat. We have to win it. We have to win the correlating game. And I think it's come to the point. I don't see us taking anything from Wolves because we just can't. It's like our kryptonite going to Wolves. Away at Villa, I can't see it. Home to Leeds. The one thing I give West Ham as well, and I said this for a while, with West Ham, Forest, and Leeds, all 3 of them, as a football club, have had experience of relegation battles. Some they've won, some they've obviously lost. But they know what to do around there. Of course, I remember you, Jordan, brother. Of course I do. So they've all had the experience of doing this. Apart from Richie, we haven't. I think we won't. I said after the Arsenal game, I think we get 4 to 6 points all season, and so far we've got 3, and they've all been draws. And I thought all our results will be draws. And West Ham know they just need to match us. Obviously, we play at the same time on Saturday. I don't know if we play on different days on Villa, but I know we're the Monday night game against Leeds. So the pressure is going to be on whether West Ham win their correlation game or lose it, or whatever result they get, the pressure's back on Spurs. And as we've seen this season, when the pressure is on us, we can't crumble. There's a perfect example, Manchester United Leeds and us Brighton. Manchester United Leeds first half were brilliant. The first half isn't even the point I want to make. The point I fucking love with Leeds is when United went down to 10 men and then United got the equaliser, Leeds threw everything at them. And I do mean everything. And Leeds defending and goalkeeping and unit was a team that was fighting. A team that was fighting. Mate, we go 2-1 up against Brighton and literally, if that was Leeds, they'd hold off. But we don't have the mentality of it, and we just dropped our heads, switched off for a second, you got punished. Whereas Leeds doubled down and said, right, defend at all costs, do not let this lead slip. And they did. And Man U were battering them. And now we are where we are. I just can't see us fighting the pressure because the players we've got aren't mentally built tough enough. If this was the 4 teams you mentioned, including us going for a European spot, I'd say it's Spurs all day long, even if we were in this position, because we've had the experience, the mentality, and we've done it time and time again. Down here, it's the other way around. So we're relying on other teams, and then we have to. Could you say at the moment, if any team slips up, you've got the faith in Tottenham, the way we've been playing, to capitalise on it? Because they've shown this year We haven't. And I'll say, stick around, Bennett. Have a drink and calm down. I'm a almost 18-year recovering alcoholic. So, no, I won't have a drink and calm down. It will do the exact opposite. But thanks. Yeah, you have a drink for me.
Have a drink. Cheers to everyone watching tonight's show.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
I finished my grape water, but yeah, I won't be turning to alcohol because of you when I've been.
Do you know what? I know. Do you know? I thought that in the second half we just couldn't keep possession of the ball, and we just kept giving it back to Brighton. And we allowed Brighton to come onto us a bit. Whereas the first half, I thought we were a bit better in possession. For me, I don't think the quality of football means anything right now. I just think it's who can roll up their sleeves, dig deep, stay focused to the end until the final whistle, and get those points. And at the moment, the problem with the problem with me is the problem with Spurs right now is that we still don't have that focus. There's still that nerviness where when the pressure gets to that point, we lose it. We just whereas the West Hams, the Leeds, the Forests, they're just handling the pressure a bit better. And do you know what, Brian? It probably comes down to the fact they've been there before, we haven't.
Exactly.
They've got experience in this. We've got no experience. And the players that we do have that had experience in this, the Odeberts, the Madisons, there's a couple of others, they got relegated. So they've got a bad experience. Yeah, I just think that's the difference. I don't know if we stay up or West Ham. I said after the Forest game, if we go bottom 8, bottom 3, I don't think we get out of it. And the funny thing is, on the weekend, West Ham and Spurs both kick off at 3 p.m. on Saturday.
Yep. Which is, you know what? I think that's a good thing because then they haven't got a clue what's going on. It's when they've had a clue of what's going on.
Well, until half time, when they get the dressing room, what's the West Ham score? What's the Tottenham score?
That's obvious. But I mean, you know what I mean? During the game, it's like if they were watching it at home the day before or the day after we played, then they're like, oh, God. I think us playing at the same time. I wish we were playing all at the same time for the rest of the season, but we're not. I think that would have made it a lot easier with them not knowing what's going on. I mean, the fans would probably make it known, but it's Leeds have been there at the pressure and they've dealt with it well. Look what they've done. West Ham have been doing very well. We're just lucky that they didn't pick up 3 points yesterday. And Forest, just look at yesterday. I know they only had Burnley, but the pressure's on them. Their home form they haven't won a home game since I went up there myself in December and picked up my free scarf. And we played them the week before Christmas. That was their first Premier League home win since then. But then they've been there.
Their first win at home since beating Tottenham.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Wow.
In the league, they'd won in Europe and everything. But
in the league, of course.
Their first league win since they beat us in December. But obviously, they'd won a few away. But they literally, yes, it was Burnley, but they knew the pressure, especially when Burnley went 1-0 up. And then the player we should have signed last season in Morgan Gibbs-White, but absolutely messed that up or didn't offer more money or the whole thing that went on. He went on and had a brilliant second half, a 10-minute hat-trick. And they know how to do it. They know how to do it. And they're in the same position as us, aren't they? As last season with Europe. They're in the semi-finals. So we'll see what happens, but I think we've left it too late.
I don't think we get out of it. But what I will say is, if we can't beat Wolves, who are now relegated, bottom of the league, right? I don't care if they're on the beach and that there's no pressure and they're just going to play with free. I don't give a shit. They're bottom of the league. They are one of the only teams who are worse than Tottenham. There's only 2 teams that are worse than Tottenham, Burnley and Wolves. Fact. If we can't go and beat them, then, Brian, I'm going to say this. We deserve to go down. We deserve to be in the Championship if we can't beat Wolves, who are now officially a Championship team. So if we can't beat the only Championship team in the league, then we deserve to join them. Facts. I don't care whether it's a last-minute own goal. I don't care if it's a penalty. I don't care if we're rubbish. If you can't beat Wolves, Tottenham, who are relegated, then you deserve to hold their hand and skip into the Championship with them. Facts.
Yeah, but the thing is, what Stowe, you got to remember with this is with Wolves going, you say Wolves and Burnley are the worst teams. They are actually in better form than us, though, in 2026. Wolves have had more wins. This is the thing.
You're right. You know, let me ask you a question. If we can't beat Wolves, who are we going to beat in the last 5 games? If we can't beat Wolves, who are we going to beat?
This is the thing. You look at it, and we haven't won a game in the Premier League in 2026. And we've had, when Tudor came in, it changes now. When De Zerbi comes in, it'll change now. We've taken 1 point from 6 games with De Zerbi. It's early days, granted. But if people think that we're now all of a sudden going to turn it around and start winning and get enough points to get up, it's all well and good seeing it in training, and they're understanding that's in training. It's when they cross the white line, the pressure, the build-up, if they collapse. It's just to say we have the worst form in England and across the top 5 leagues, joint with Sheffield Wednesday. I don't even understand how that's acceptable with the fans. I don't understand.
Because they care more about their image and they care more about their social media profiles and they care more about being popular online than what they do about bloody... Listen, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to say thank you to Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Always a pleasure, brother. Always here for you. And I hope we do some more things. Always a pleasure being with you, brother.
Yeah, no, look, we'll try and make it a regular. Make sure you get over to Brian's channel. If you don't know, I've already told you a few times, so I'll say it one more time. Brian Dagul, Tottenham on tour. So, Brian?
I said, if you don't know, and I said, get to know.
Oh, yeah, that's it. If you don't know, get to know.
Yeah.
Don't get used to it. That's another one. Don't get used to it. By the way, guys, it's going to redirect you to the 2 marks who are going live now. Make sure when you go there, you put in the comments Stelios Raid or Stelios and Brian Raid, whatever you want. Just put one of our names in the word Raid so they know that you've come from us. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. And whatever you do in your Spurs life, if you're not Enoch out, you're not a Tottenham fan as far as I'm concerned because you are facilitating the problem. Enoch out. And on that note,
Enoch
I'll let Brian do his thing.
out. Yeah, no, wait, well, there's a load of it. It's... For now, the guy that created our incredible website and 2 apps, Rob Pickering, bum, bum, ba. Websites never seem so good. So good, so good, so good. Lange, piss off. Supercalifragilistic, fuck off, vegetarian. And as always, Enoch out.
Enoch out.